Hello, everyone, and no one, and welcome to another Talking Into the Void. Apparently, everyone and their brother and their mother seems to be streaming today. Guess it's just today's the day to stream, as Scribe would say. But, yeah, on Sunday. But with me, as always, is Tier Alexander. Tier, how you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend.
It's good to hear, and we have Angela with us as well. Angela, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Not so bad. James probably not gonna be able to make it. He's been running into some issues, but hey, things like that happen, and we have to take our health first. Same with
Yep.
Mitch. He can't make it. A message has been sent to Willet Forge to see if he would like to join us. No clue, and we'll see what happens.
At
So
the
Hope he
very
will.
least, you have these three musketeers.
yeah,
Always. Except for when we watch a horrible movie and then I fall asleep during
Or we forget our muskets at
yeah,
home.
it.
yeah. All I know is, like I was telling Angela earlier, today doesn't feel like a Sunday. Like I still forgot to start my laundry after I got a shower and everything because I worked yesterday.
hmm
And I volunteered for it because I could use the money. I'm trying to pay off my. I think I owe like just shy of 8,500 on my truck, and I want to pay that off this year, and then start looking for a house.
That's always a laudable thing.
Nice.
Well, I don't hate an apartment. I definitely would like a house because then I can do other things. I keep just hoping that my stuff for when my weekly play in the lotto will eventually pay off. I'm not even hoping to win big. I'm like, give me just enough to have a little bit of property in a house.
Hmm.
That's all I want. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Just enough to pretend like I'm rich.
I'm not even trying to pretend
I
like I'm
don't even
rich.
want to pretend I'm rich. Sorry.
Yeah, I would like if I could have my absolute dream in that whole thing, it would be the fact that it's like I could pay off all my debt, and I've already talked to my parents. So I was like, I would buy property in a house first, and then if I had the money for it to do all of that and extra, I'd look at paying off my parents' debt, and then probably my brother and his wife as well because they don't have too much. So that way
If
they could,
I,
so that way they could
but
just focus on living life.
Mm.
if I ever hit the lottery, I tell people honestly, I would still continue to work my job until I found something to do.
I would probably quit my job, but it would also be because I'd be pursuing if I won super big, like if I won the Mega Millions jackpot, then yeah, I would quit my job and I would pursue other things of like going to gunsmithing school so I could just learn to work on guns and eventually build my own.
Right? I would be starting my business.
I would still like again, for I guess maybe for me it's that my job, I lead a house. It gives me something to do, and until I found something to do with my time, maybe start a company. I don't know, but
Oh well,
I,
see, mine's that whole thing of like I would do that as well. Or it's like have my own.
mm,
I'd probably keep working my job until everything was all the way through, and then while I was doing the uh working on getting the stuff for Jesus Christ, if my brain would stop being a jackass and having the fucking delay. It's buffering. Uh Doing the shit for the gunsmithing, I would probably be looking at starting my own little garden and shit like that so I could do not necessarily prepping, most people call it homesteading.
an ex coworker of mine was a homesteader. He had like chickens, and he would occasionally bring in eggs for everybody.
Yeah, I'd
But
be doing something like that. I mean, it'd be one of those things as well. If I won that jackpot, I'd be moving out of Michigan. I'd be trying to find some place that doesn't. Or me and my dad have already talked about that. We'd be getting to a place that doesn't have fucking property taxes.
I would go to a place that's warm all year round.
I don't want a place that's warm all year round, because I do
Snow.
like the seasons. But the other biggest thing that I would have is I would have a fucking garage. Like, I like having a carport. I'm so glad I have a carport. Other than the one time some jackass parked in there and I had to have him. Luckily, they moved it. But because I was close to being like, nah, man, tow that fucker. It's fucking posted. They know better.
I'm gonna say this, and I mean, fuck the snow. Fuck it in its ass.
It's not for
I
everyone.
miss the snow so bad. I wish I could live in snow.
It's not.
See, I'm not telling you not to move out of snows here. I'm just saying I still like it. I would stay somewhere to where it's that. But I would probably also try to move somewhere to where it typically has more mild winters.
Okay,
'Cause, like-
that's reasonable.
Because winter is actually a really good time frame for hunting specific animals. Because that's what I would want to do as well, to where not necessarily have it to where like all the fruits and or like vegetables and whatnot that we do.
Mhm.
I do know that oh, holy crap, I just fucking popped my toes. Oh god, that felt good. Sorry.
Oh God, what the hell is wrong with you?
I had an itch on my foot and I happened to grab the 3 center toes and push them forward to where they all popped.
Oh
Because
God, it's a forge.
I can never get the big toe and the pinky toe to prop properly unless I pull on the pinky toe, and the big toe is I don't even try. And joining us is Will at Forge. Will, how you doing today?
I'm doing, it's a end of the weekend. Unfortunately, it's back to work tomorrow.
One of those
grind
ones.
again.
One of those ones where you're like, what the fuck did I come into?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. It's like, what? I'm gonna pause and just wait till I catch up with everything. Am I gonna catch up with everything?
Oh, not
We're
necessarily.
actually just talking like random stuff, and we landed on what we would do if we won the lottery.
Retire from humanity. I'd have to say I have a living arrangement in mind. I just don't know if it would be practical with my limitations. But there'd be a lot less of me seen other than like on streams.
Yeah. That would be basically my whole thing, although I don't think I could do as many streams as some people do. But I would definitely have some fun with it. I also know that if I won super big, that there'd be more than a couple of YouTubers that would be getting a really big donation that I don't want to talk about on air, because if this ever happens, I want it to be a massive surprise.
I hear that.
You can just make the check out to me personally. You don't have to, I get it. I understand.
You work for a
It's
living.
okay.
You don't need it.
Gotta have. I need all the money.
I would just love it to be able to not have to worry about everything else and just go through and. Well, it changed some things, like, because I'd be waking up early to homestead stuff.
It would be easy to do that type of stuff, especially nowadays. You could just do it. Like when I clean up, I put in a YouTube channel or a podcast and just fucking go at it.
Yeah. Well, that'd be the only difficult thing, is because it depended on where I lived, it would be might not always have the proper network. So if it doesn't have the stuff to be able to have halfway decent internet, I'll do that whole thing to where I'll install, or it's like have the tower installed myself to where we can do it. And then if the cell phone companies and other companies want to use it, they got to pay me.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of a bastard. I mean, I'm a bastard in general, but
You're more of a bad.
That sounds like you're a smart guy.
well, no, I said the whole thing, so I'm a bastard. Like I was telling you earlier, technically I am a bastard
Oh,
because
yeah.
conceived before my parents were married. So, per the definition, I'm a bastard.
I'm most definitely am a bastard. My parents, I was the child of my mother was the other woman. So yeah, I broke up my father's marriage, my
Oof.
existence. Yeah. So it is what it is.
That
Yeah.
kind of sounds like your father broke up your father's marriage if he had another woman.
Yeah.
Well, he broke it up, but my existence just made he couldn't deny it. You know, my mother was never the type to care, but when I was born, yeah, it kind of changed shit.
I mean, it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, but it is what it is. So now you know my terrible secret, my secret shame.
Oh, that's the way it goes sometimes. Otherwise, I don't know if any of you follow Wendigoon. Did you know he's going to be in a more of an indie movie that's about SCPs, from my understanding?
Ooh,
I did not.
The movie's called Stalker.
which SCP is it?
I don't know which one it's supposed to be.
I would say
Please,
probably Stalker.
please let it be Mal point oh. Please let it be Mal point oh.
But since I just remembered to jump, because I was like, oh, I'll jump in my bookmark so I can give us something to talk about. That whole thing. Come on, fucking load. Did you hear about, apparently it happened on the 30th of January, that it's I believe that, yeah, a Georgia, homeowner, yeah, in Vermont, yeah, a Vermont, Georgia homeowner shot and injured a man who was allegedly trying to break into his house. But do you know what he shot him with?
No.
Oh yeah,
A fucking muzzle loader.
muzzle loader.
Ooh.
An elderly
Oh,
man
wow.
busted out the muzzle loader. It was just like, oh yeah, we're going old school. It quite literally, since there was like apparently three of them, it's just like, 3 rapscallions break into my house. I grabbed my Kentucky rifle.
How dare you, good sirs, and attempt to invade our domicile?
If only he'd had a bayonet on it as well. Like, oh my god. Yeah, the guy's
Blunderbuss, but
75
a lot of wall
years
damage for
old.
that.
Freaking got three armed men to leave him alone after shooting one of them with a fucking muzzle loader.
Wow.
Oh well.
Oh,
Oh, that's
apparently the dude survived. That got shot, but still, like that is
His
just
pride can't be
that is chef's kiss, in my opinion. And like I said, it'd been hysterical. Like, if when they went to interview him, the dude was like, I'm not watching the video on that and everything. But if the dude would have been like powdered wig, fucking, like Revolutionary Army garbs, it was just like, the rapscallion tried to break into my house, but luckily, because of my trusty muzzleloader, I was able to fend them off.
This just
Oh.
in: City of New York moves to ban muskets.
I
yeah.
was gonna say, we were just talking about muskets.
I mean,
Black powder weapons.
it was Vermont. I mean, it's bad enough they always want to go towards the whole banning of firearms, and my favorite is the whole thing of the I just always want to say it against someone who's like, well, we need to ban these military grade weapons. Don't insult my fucking firearms. My firearms are way better than military grade, because military grade is not the best of the best. And if you had to deal with anything of the federal government or the DOD, any of that shit, I'm pretty sure even TIER will be able to tell you, working TSA, that like they do not get the best of the best when it comes to equipment.
Equipment that's the lowest common denominator, built by the lowest bidder.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
got
still
one
too
for y'all.
fucking expensive.
I got one for y'all. Some of our equipment is hand-me-downs.
What?
Yeah, some of our equipment is
Oh.
hand-me-downs.
That's not surprising. Oh my god, and that just reminded me because of the the muzzleloader thing. I guess this has happened in South America. I apparently you can look it up, and it's happened in California as well. Basically, people have hired some security things and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but because guns are illegal for them, they're basically dudes that are stopping crime while wielding katanas.
Oh,
Like the one I saw for down in Brazil, like apparently because bicycles are stolen quite often, the criminals tried to steal like 4 bikes, and the landlord and whatnot had the guy, like they come down the elevator, and all of a sudden you just see this fucking dude, he's running after him with a katana, this Brazilian guy, not like wielding it like a regular like samurai and whatnot, but still it's just like he chased off 4 of them, because if some dude's running at you with
restore
a
the age of the
with a sword, my instinct is to shoot and that, but it's like most people's instinct is going to be to run. And because we also know Brazilians tend to be very religious, I guess we could say that he definitely did have the power of God and anime on his side.
Restore
Okay.
the age of the samurai, Brazil. Let's go. I'm all for this shit. I'm all for it.
Well, I mean, shit, they're already talking about banning swords, looking at particular types of knives and whatnot to ban in the UK, and it's like all of that shit towards like they're never gonna stop trying to control you in that whole thing.
Do y'all remember not too long ago? It was a guy being this Muslim guy attacked somebody in Great Britain, and the guy pulled out a fucking narwhal's tooth.
Yes,
And
that one's been talked about by Drunkle and I think Polly as well quite often. Of just the whole thing of the dude was carrying a narwhal tusk from one place to another. I think it was like from one museum to another. And when the guy tried to mug him and whatnot, or it's like and threatened his life, basically he took on him a Shelly wielding guy with a narwhal tusk, and narwhal tusk won.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's better standoff weapon, obviously.
well, it got better reach with the narwhal's tooth, so or tusk. But yeah, remember, always bet on range weapons first.
Yeah.
It's that's not what they mean by ranged weapon, but yeah.
It's still a range weapon in D&D.
Did
Only
he
ranged
just
if you're
throw it
throwing
at
it.
them? I was
No,
gonna say, did he just throw it at them?
okay,
Because
my bad. It counts as a reach weapon. There you go.
yes,
Sorry,
thanks.
Oh,
my
and
bad.
since I just remember this as well, because I'm still waiting on Bond Arms going back to the firearms thing. I'm still waiting on Bond Arms to fully release and start getting out the lever action ARs they've been building to where it has a somewhat AR-15 style lower, but uses a shotgun buttstock and is a lever gun, but then has an AR-15 style upper. But apparently, for this year at SHOT Show, Henry released a newer version of their mag-fed lever guns that look like they're going to
Ooh.
be using Sten mags in the 223 and 300 black. Now, for the 300 black one, they need to make a mare's leg and an SBR version of it.
All right, you want to have to translate that for us non-combatants.
What?
Translate that into people that don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, translate that into non-gun people.
Oh, basically the Henry has made the lever gun that will accept the AR mag.
Okay.
And basically actually we'll do this the easy way. We'll go. Give me a second. I'm gonna do this, go doing producing things and moving shit out of my way. Because I got a bunch of shit on my desk that I probably don't need, but it's never gonna get moved out of the way.
And
Fully.
you don't have a producer.
I keep needing to replace my producer. He sucks.
Totally. He's a cripple too.
Hey,
You know, you
that's
can't
why I
fuck
said
with
I'm doing producing things.
Well,
Yo,
your producer's a cripple too. You can't do too much.
Wow.
Love you well.
yeah, I'm sure.
That's doing that. We'll see if Henry has.
Well, it could be worse. P Dogs produces a whole flock. So,
Wow.
And he's got to tell that,
Oh.
and he's got to constantly go through and tell the dude to stop being a dumbass.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's okay. I think my producer got fired by Zafrank.
Whoa.
By what?
His producer got fired. But it's a front. What am I supposed to do with this goddamn thing?
Oh, that is, say, for a 410, that is pretty. You said Henry, and I went down the rabbit hole.
Oh, Henry makes such nice firearms.
Their Axe 410.
The only thing that's pissed me off is that they're mare's legs, so the short barreled versions that Tallahassee had for a lever gun in the Zombieland movies, they only offer the non rimfire ones in a Golden Boy. So it's got that nice, really brass furniture, but I don't want it to have that brass furniture because I want to make an SBR out of it. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have that one out yet. Okay, so
Yeah,
there's
I've
that.
wanted a Henry or two for a while.
I either want a Henry or a Marlin. I've had a Rossi. They're still a good gun. I just mounting an optic on it is a bitch. And it's the same with a Winchester because the Winchester or the Rossi uses the Winchester action to where it ejects straight out the top when the Marlin and the Henry eject out the side.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna need a translation.
When you run the lever, it kicks the shell out the side of the gun instead of out the top of the gun. If you kicks it out the top of the gun, it limits what your optics are for sights.
Well, we'll go
Okay.
we'll go live on here. Get rid of that. Go back over here. Click on this. Go. There we go. So that's got everything in there. So this is how they look in that one, and as you can see through there, that it's actually got something on the side for the Winchester. We'll go.
You said that could take the. I mean, is it limited? Have to be special mags, but it can take the AR calibers, or
I mean, quite literally looks like that's the farthest it has to go to be thrown. So this one that is in the picture right here is a 300 blackout. So it won't. It would fire 5.56, but you're probably gonna risk fucking up your barrel because 5.56 is a really cool round. But from everything I'm aware of it, it's actually meant to be better in a shorter barrel and suppressed.
Do y'all remember?
And then here is what the. I wish they did a bit bigger thing of it. A small picture for what it looks like of the Bond Arms AR lever gun.
ooh.
Yeah, it's got a price tag to boot on it, but both of them will. I'm pretty sure the Henry's going to be around $1,000.
Yeah, I think I had the Bond Arms up. Well, what's up, Tier?
Do you remember the show, The Rifleman?
Yep.
That's when I saw that gun, I immediately thought of the Rifleman's rifle.
I don't think I've seen that one, but
it's an old West. Goddamn it, why am I into old shit?
We'll go to
It's
Now,
manufacturers.
He was the first basketball player to ever break a backboard.
So in the Rifleman, really quickly, Will, see if this jogs your memory. He had a repeater, a Winchester repeater that fired. He could click it and he would do it really fast. And it'll make a sound. Well, not pew pew pew, but it would make that a sound. And it was called the Rifleman.
Large lever firing loop on the lever action rifle. Yep, that is. Pretty sure I haven't seen that one. That one does it does predate me by a few years. So
I mean, I wasn't trying to say it like that because again, I watched it or
Yeah.
I watched it
Oh,
when it used to come on.
on this picture, you can see here, if you're looking at my screen, how it has something from the top. I probably should have still just went with Winchester as well to get a better view. We'll just go over here and say Winchester lever action rifles, and go to images. And like you can see on this one of how there's the thing at the top. Well,
Yeah.
when you go over to like the Henry, it doesn't go directly out the top. So along here, you can actually mount put a mount on to either mount a scope or a red dot, which would make it really cool, which is why this one looks so damn cool. And yeah, I know they want $1,600 for it, but oh my God, just the stuff you
think
can
I'm
do.
just
Fell in
I'm
love.
curious with a few modifications that Bond Arms the potential of being California compliant.
Quite literally, if anything, it's just going to be the whole mag situation for it.
Well,
So
I'm
it's a
trying to
lever
think
gun.
because the front grip might be an issue because vertical grips get
There's
funky
there's no front grip. The Bond Arms doesn't have a vertical front grip. That's the mag.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
But-
I'm looking at okay. Well, it's an accessory on the one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture from Off Grid Web.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this as well is like they've already got it planned out that this would make a great hunting rifle for a lot of other places. So like the future calibers they're looking at too is the 300 Blackout, the 450 Bushmaster, 350 Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a lever gun, even a lot of suppressor companies have said how surprised they have been that lever guns are actually very good suppressor hosts.
Suppressor.
Because just like a bolt action, it reduces more of it or more of the volume, and you hear less mechanical.
Right.
Because contrarily to what Hollywood would lead you to believe, like suppressors aren't making it that quiet, and the only ones that have been close to are like a 22 LR single shot rimfire, and you still hear the action.
Right.
Mm.
Of course, if you had a lever with a big suppressor and subsonic ammo,
Well, like
it wouldn't be whisper quiet, but it
Yeah.
would be.
I mean, that's the only
Much
ones that
less.
they've got to go super quiet. I mean, other than that, it's like the only thing that's like truly going to be fucking quiet is an owl. Because dear Christ, are those bastards quiet when they fly?
Yeah, and they've got their slow, limited range, and training them to attack on command is tricky.
Yeah.
You can do it. It might not be worth it, but you can do it.
And if they take out your home intruder, then animal control's gonna want to put them down.
But for like how this one is, how they have these ones here, and obviously they have the 300 Blackout one suppressed. If they make a version that's like this, to where it's that short, to where you can eventually swap out the pistol, quote unquote pistol grip, for an actual buttstock and SBR this thing, oh my God, it'd be such a great fun gun. But we need to get rid of the NFA. I mean, the ATF needs to delete it itself as well, but get rid of the NFA so that way people won't have to go through and pay a fucking tax stamp on it that's non-refundable of whether or not it gets approved.
Well, the NFA is the ATF is helping us nickel and dime the NFA.
Well, like the thing they were trying for with a lot of it, that they were trying to say the reason why you can't get rid of the NFA is because there is a tax revenue collected, and it's like, by doing that, you're quite literally stating this was used as nothing but to make money, which means it should be illegal.
Yeah, the thing is, directly taxing a right like that is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
That was determined years ago when they tried to put a tax on printers ink.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't remember the newspaper that did it, but a newspaper company sued them. It was
Good.
like, you're putting a special, and they lost. Went all the way up to the Supreme Court. They lost hands down.
Well, that's
No
the
questions
well,
asked.
the reason why all that, like, these never go to the Supreme Court for anyone is because anytime that happens, the ATF will drop charges because they know if it does go to the Supreme Court, it's gonna get shot down.
See, and
which
that's
is
when
why-
you have to,
which is
that's
why it
when you
needs
have
to go to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's
Well-
why everybody who is charged for these so-called crimes, when they do that drop charges, has to turn around and do a civil rights suit
Violation.
against
Yeah.
the government.
Yeah, that's what they should do. That's why, like, I have more respect for the FPC than I do for any other firearms group other than, like, local ones. The GOA is kind of okay. Obviously, the NRA is all but defunct. And fuck them. They've been a garbage organization for like 30-something years. Like, don't get me
You
wrong.
pick-
I like when they had Coleon Noir on. And they didn't
picked
censor.
the worst leadership.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's been going down. It's been going downhill since Charlton Heston passed
Yeah.
away. So I mean,
and like what pissed me off with the GOA is when the bump stock ban came out, they're like, or not bump stock, the pistol brace ban. They're like, we gotta fight the ATF and that to bring pistol braces back. And I'm like, no, you motherfucker, you need to be using this as a reason to get rid of the NFA. Because then if that happens, I don't care if these one companies lose the business that they were going to have of making pistol braces. They can go to what they were supposed to be for people who legitimately have an issue in that, and let people just put a fucking stock on their goddamn gun.
yeah,
Like,
the only regulations that you should have on guns is literally on the use, and the only regulations that should be there is it's illegal to use guns for these crimes, just like it's illegal to use knives, hands, feet, a hammer, your car, your dog, whatever else. Murder is murder is murder. It's illegal whether you use a gun or a stone from your yard.
Yeah. Oh God, no! As you reminded me of is I was scrolling Twitter the other day and saw, I guess it's a Canadian or whatnot, and he was predominantly talking about for Canadian law, but he was trying to say that, you know, by owning a gun for self-defense, you're owning something that can kill someone. Therefore, you're premeditating. It makes it murder. And people are just like, even Canadians are just like, Nani?
I am sitting in an easy chair in my living room. I have my computer to my left. I have Fresca to my right. I've got a laser at my feet. I have got at least 20 things in my reach, not counting a gun, that you can kill a person with.
I
At
could
least.
I can bludgeon someone to death with my water bottle. Still with icy water. It's metal.
Say, including the half full bottle of Fresca.
Like, quite literally, it's like people, he was trying to say, people were just like, huh?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yeah, it's kind of like reminds me of a place. I was a power company that I had to deliver to in North Carolina. You walk up to the door, and they literally on the door on the a sign on the door is like no guns, knives, etc. Goes through a list of things or any other dangerous weapon. I'm like, okay,
So basically,
I
you're
can't
telling me
walk
not
in.
to walk in.
yeah. I was like, okay, I've got 2 pens, a stylus, a scanner, 2 hands, 2 elbows, 2 knees, 2 feet, and steel-toed boots. I can't get anywhere near this place.
And Tears, since you asked for it,
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
There you go. Thank you, Rodney.
I just forgot and had to go through and put it in there, the whole thing of having the,
Huh?
Yeah. It's just,
Bro. Mhm.
Bruh.
dude, do you have a knife in your kitchen? Do you have a pen in your desk?
Oh, that was like the whole discussion I've had with others, and I can't remember who said it. And that, but they brought up of how people are like, well, they put the ban on butterfly knives because a butterfly knife can look scary of the person who's flipping it and whatnot. But it's like if you pay attention and you have a fast enough hand or fast enough leg to kick, them flinging that thing around, it looks cool, but it's not helping them. Like what's going to be a better tool to actually hurt people with is a fucking a fixed blade knife. Like basically taking some cardboard, putting it around there and taping it to your fucking arm. And then all you have to do is grab the handle and draw it like it's a hidden, almost like you're drawing a fucking sword.
All right, so I'm a big. Granted, I still do my job, but I will never understand why things like bats are banned on the planet. In order to get any power on a bat, you need to be able to swing. And in an enclosed space, you're not going to be able to swing.
And
Like-
let's face it, a bat isn't going to go through a cockpit door.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
I mean,
It's
you
not
can
going to dent
well,
a cockpit
you
door.
can still hurt someone with it with a thrust. And
But
in the it's one of those things like you have to go through solid training and everything.
But in the confines of airplane, you have very little room, and I'm pretty sure by the time you get the thrusting motion, you're not going to be able to get like 5 thrusting motions in once to get all 5 of those fuckers that's going to hit.
Yeah. And quite
You know?
literally, it's that whole thing, which was one of the main reasons why the apartment fight in the first Bourne movie is probably one of my favorites, because the dude busts out the little push knife
Mhm.
and Matt Damon
Yeah.
just fucking grabs a pen and pulls the goddamn cap off of it and uses it that way. It's one of the reasons why I love that they did it in in John Wick 2. They brought up of him killing 3 people with a pencil. Or it's like they showed him they showed it's like these things are still more dangerous than people realize. I mean, don't get me
Anything
wrong,
can be
with a gun, you're still hurling a stone. You're just hurling a stone really fast.
Yeah. The simple fact is you have to be the weapon, and then anything at hand is just a tool to that end. Tyr, that's one of the reasons why I don't fly, but I it's nice. One nice thing about being a cripple, I have a cane. That cane has got a inch diameter steel shaft.
Nice.
And you know what? It's a weapon that nobody can legally take away from me.
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't care if you got metal detectors. You have to pass me through. You can check the cane and make sure it's a cane, but you can't legally take it away from me.
No, you can't.
Without replacing it with a regular cane. Like if it were to be like a sword cane, they could legally take it from you, but they would have to replace it.
Yeah, but it's not a sword cane. I do have one of those in the closet. No, I've got a heavy duty cane. It's designed for people like up to 600 pounds.
See, like I wouldn't mind the sword cane. Because I know Cold Steel has one, and quite literally, the funny thing is, if you ever watch quite a few of the videos that Cold Steel has put out with their swords, the guy using the sword is fucking Cold Steel CEO.
Oh, nice.
And he's this bigger dude and whatnot doing it just because he has that much belief in it that he's like, I'll fucking prove it. And like how durable they are and everything. But also it reminded me of was the one episode of NCIS where it's like, oh damn it, brought the wrong cane. The other one's the one with the flask.
Nice. But yeah, I mean it's a steel cane, and I mean the thing weighs. It's not one of those lightweight aluminum canes. You hit it with an aluminum cane, you're gonna bend the aluminum cane.
Depending on how thick it is, or I shouldn't say how thick it is, because typically with aluminum they go hollow in a lot of things.
Well,
so that'll bend the fuck out of it. Solid aluminum's going to take quite a bit to fucking bend.
Yeah, but it's all canes are, metal canes are generally hollow, if they're extendable and stuff, adjustable. It's just the barrel on it. It's steel pipe. It's not aluminum pipe. So I mean, wood, it's gonna hold up. Aluminum, it's gonna hold up. Blades, it's going to hold up.
A while back, many moons ago, they were going to unban pocket knives, little pen knives, not pen knives, but stuff like that, and they went back on it.
Oh darn! Would have been nice to be able to take my spring bladed out the front on a plane.
Because it was remember the Boston City, was it the Boston City bombing? I think it was the
I don't
Boston
remember.
City
I just
bombing.
know that technically, well, they cannot
The one
technically
with the
say.
pressure cooker.
Oh, that was the Boston Marathon bombing.
Yeah.
That, like, for some odd reason, I'm not supposed to be, or I'm not legally allowed to carry an out the front automatic knife. I can carry a regular automatic knife when they don't
Yeah.
realize that, like, 99% of the out the front knives you're gonna buy aren't gonna pierce flesh
Mhm.
really at all. Like they might prick if it's got the right tip. It might prick a little bit, but it's not gonna pierce like the blades from Assassin's Creed or something. The spring's not that fucking strong. I tried that with one of mine in Afghanistan to puncture a juice box, and it didn't do that.
The
Wow.
catch with it is it's only strong for stabbing
Mhm.
if it's able to freely work going in and out without obstruction. If you actually put like, so you can hold it back, extend the blade, and stab through cardboard. But if you stick it up against cardboard and try to extend the blade, it can't puncture.
That's what I was talking about. Like, I tried doing it that way. Now, if you extend it out outright, it's just like a fixed blade. It has that thing to lock it in place.
Yeah, it locks the blade out. And the funny thing is, in Michigan, it's legal to own them. You just can't carry them out and about.
Yep.
In Maryland, you can't own fixed blades and you can't own switch blades.
They can't. Well, they can. A lot of places have. What's funny is the fact they were made mostly popular because of movies and TV shows back in the day. Because switchblades are only good for stabbing because their blade is too thin.
Yeah, I mostly use mine for opening packages.
Because like that's where like
See,
butterflies.
I got a box cutter, which is made more dangerous.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I've got a straight razor that's way more dangerous.
you couldn't just use a box cutter?
I don't have a handy box cutter. Actually, I've got a utility knife somewhere around here.
That's like, unless it's something I ordered from Amazon or somewhere else or whatnot. All my letters I open with a fake bayonet knife that's not actually a knife, that came with one of my the furniture for my Ruger 1022, and it works great as a letter opener because it doesn't have an actual edge because it's a polymer material.
Hey, I had for opening letters, I used to have a letter opener that was a 6 or 8 inch katana. It actually had a sharpened blade.
Oh, dude, I've got them. I think I left them at my folks' house and whatnot. I actually went and bought the katana scissors.
Ooh.
Oh,
I hate you.
They're actually pretty cool. They're actually not bad scissors either. I keep them at home because I forget, or at my folks' house because I put them in one of the my old dresser drawer and can't fucking remember where it's at.
but I use the blades for boxes that it's mostly for like the plastic tapes, because if it's just paper tape, you just punch it with a knuckle stuck out. You break the tape and you can pop it open real easily.
Yeah, typically once you've broke part of the tape, like when I'm open boxes at work that require tape, I'm using a fucking metal putty knife.
Yeah. Even the plastic tape, all you need is to break the integrity of the plastic and it peels easily.
Oh, ow, 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 ow.
What do
Get
you?
down, cat.
Oh,
So, take that back. I think I've shaved with the switchblade once.
I have found that a couple of my knives I have gotten sharp enough to shave with. It's just a little more difficult to do it properly. And quite literally, the only thing I really shave is my neck. And it's really funny. I'm going to have to look into stuff for trimming my beard better, but I've actually found like the best way to trim my beard is instead of trying to do all the weird shit of like having a fucking little set of trimmers with the freaking guard on and whatnot, it's having no guard and quite literally pulling the hair to whatever desired length with my hand and just trimming off little pieces as I go.
Yeah, especially if the beard is curlier, less straight. Those guards are really hard to get, consistent length.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that, like, for some odd reason, at least currently, once my beard gets beyond a certain length, I look like a crazed homeless person a lot of times.
I envy people. I can't grow a beard at all.
Oh, dude, there was a guy I was in the military with. Ginger on top of it. He didn't shave for like a month and you couldn't tell he grew anything.
Yeah. I haven't shaved ever, and I haven't got my haircut in maybe 2 months. Maybe. And my face has nothing.
See, and I have this red brown from the ginger roots and white because I'm getting old.
Oh, what's funny is like my hair is my regular hair is a dark brown. And then my beard, you see brown, red, blonde, a couple whites.
Yeah, I've got those Doctor Strange wings on the chin and everything. With
Oh no, it's not like
really white.
It's not like there's ones that are that way. It's like I just have like apparently a couple it's like more than a couple just straight up albino hairs.
Well, it's better than being a straight up albino.
Sometimes I don't know if I would hate being a straight up albino.
Oh God!
Like being outside
with
in the
hair.
sun.
I mean, just with the hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess.
I'm sensitive enough to sunlight without going any steps further. Thank you.
You don't want to go full daywalker?
Look, I know I'm pale considering the fact that I work second shift and I don't do like I used to where when I was still in the military and I would go run before work. I actually had a decent tan before I left Okinawa.
I've had a decent tan a time or two, typically after burning very badly.
I was gonna say what happens is I burn and then I like just get darker. A lot of the time, by the time it's fall and I stop being able to be out in the sun as much. Okay.
I'm lucky. Thank God for dark skin. It doesn't burn well as much, if you will.
Burn, peel, tan is about the way. And that's that. That was before I spent some time on meds that made me like even more sensitive to the sunlight.
Okay, so what I was saying was by the time it does get to where you have to stay inside more, people start randomly speaking to me in Spanish, assuming that I'm Mexican.
You are this everywhere. You have all the races in you, don't you? Jewish, Mexican.
Because I'm not Latina at all, actually.
They're just like, ¿Qué
Though
pasa?
I met what the hell is his name? Paul Rodriguez one time. And he was rude as fuck. And basically called me a coconut because he decided that I was Mexican and just didn't bother to learn Spanish. I'm like,
Who?
Brown on
Did
the
you ever
outside, white in the
see-
middle.
I know.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know the name in that whole thing. I'm not picturing the face.
The most like prolific movie he was ever in was called A Million to One, where he won the lotto and hijinks ensued.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
Nope.
But he's a Latino comedian. He's Mexican. My daughter's ex-boyfriend was a light tech for a
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen him before.
But
Stand-up comic. He was also in a rat race. He was the cabbie.
never seen that.
well, the director did a Latino version of The Odd Couple, and Paul Rodriguez played the Oscar character. And I got to meet the actors afterwards. And the other guy was super nice, just pleasant as hell. And he, when I was unable to speak Spanish to him, he turned around and called me a coconut and ignored me the whole rest of the time.
So he just assumed that because you appeared Latino or Latinx or whatever they're calling it nowadays, you spoke Spanish. Wow, that's just wow. That's fucking amazing. I love humanity.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Like, I'm not.
I mean, I've been told that I was a bad Jew for working on the Sabbath. I can understand that because that is something
Yeah.
that I actually own.
Well, Angela, you are a terrible Jew, just the worst. You
But
know.
I'm not Latina, so I'm not a coconut.
Yeah. He was just an idiot.
Again, brown on the inside, white on the out. That always annoys me to no end. Coconuts, Oreos, shit like that. No one you. Fuck up. That shit pisses me off. Like I'm so much more than my skin color. God damn it.
Well, of course you are. You're clearly an Uncle Tom too.
That really pisses me off.
Damn it! And I completely forgot to get the sound. I wanted to for that because I was gonna think about doing the whole thing of like when I introduced you, have that one thing from the movie like, because I'm black, y'all, and I'm black,
And
y'all.
I'm black, y'all. And I'm black. I'm black, y'all.
Wow.
I mean, I still have thought about doing like I don't know exactly how I would be able to do the, not the chorus, but the verse, but doing the whole thing for the Eminem song where they say "Guess Who's Back," but instead of it being "Guess Who's Back," it'd be "Guess Who's Black." My black friend. Tear is black. My black friend. And it could be like Tear is black, so is Pat. Satsu's black, and I can't figure out a way to get P-Dog in there without plausibly calling him Martin. Yeah.
P-Dog's black. P-Dog's black. P-Dog's black. P-Dog's black.
Wow.
Okay, so that gun just looks like it is a severe wrist trauma waiting to happen.
One of the ones I'm looking at.
No, I bounced over to Bond Arms, their Cyclops Thumper.
Oh yeah. The only one I'd be willing to look at for the Cyclops would be the one in 50 Action Express, but otherwise I have absolutely no desire for that. Like, I do dumb shit, but no. Like, I know I'm a caliber whore, and like, and what I mean by like caliber whore, and it's not a whore, a caliber whore.
Horror.
No, you gotta get that whore in there. Like,
Wow.
yeah. Like, I just bid on a 22 short earlier on Gunbroker because, well, it's one of the 2 tip-up barrel calibers for Beretta that I still need. If I get outbid on one of them, I'm really tempted to offer one of my local gun shops to try to see if they'll haggle for price. Yeah, the Bond Arms Derringers, they are not fun. That's why I actually got some aftermarket grips that let me hold them a bit better, because the Dove's head grip is okay, but I'm not as good with. It was actually the reason I sold my first Heritage Rough Rider revolver. Because that thing was no fun.
Yeah, I'm
could-
just looking at
I
these
could not hit
Derringers
shit
and
with
like,
it.
yeah, you'll scare somebody, maybe, but
Honestly, and we'll do this real quick. We'll say plus image, and we're just going to say gun. Browse. Pretty sure. There you go. Now I got to go through and fucking smallify this fucker on stream. Then go over here. Damn it, where'd it go? Oh, I passed it like 3 fucking times. As I hear seeing the stream, it's on stream. Like, once I put these grips on it, it was exponentially more easy to shoot. Actually, I can just do this. No, wrong thing. You downsize. Go back over to this. And there. You go live. There. Since you're seeing my screen. And what's up, Keishel?
hey,
Excuse me, you okay, Sean?
Yeah. This, these grips that I bought, that are actually 3D printed grips, make it the gun is not as bad to fire. Bond Arms Bond Arms Derringers are exponentially easier to fire than a regular small Derringer, because those fuckers are even smaller.
Oof.
see, I look at the size of that grip and the size of the trigger and everything. It's like that's gonna be half my hand.
All right, so we go over to this. Another new
No, I mean
tab.
if you could put a grip like the something that they had at the one gun range, they had the Glock with the competition shooter grips. They had like the really aggressive hashing on it. It's like, yeah, I could hold that with 2 fingers and control the gun while shooting.
Really?
Yeah, the grip is just that aggressive, and I get big hands. I pound the bowling ball.
God damn it.
It wasn't a 16-pound ball, but I've pounded a bowling ball.
I'm trying to see if they have a better comparison to how they're held, because they're not as bad as some people think. Like, I always recommend that before you actually would buy one, to like go to your local gun shop and put one in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as bad, and they do make aftermarket grips that make it exponentially easier.
Only between, let's see, between Silver Bullet and what's the other one there? 360. One of them's probably got it.
Got what?
Oh, I figure one of the local ranges has probably
Oh, yeah.
got one.
I mean, all you gotta do is go to a gun shop and just put one in your hand.
Right. Well,
And then if you decide you want to get one, let me know, and I can send you a link to the maker or the 3D printer, basically, who made those grips for me. And they're actually made right here in the States. And last I can remember, in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Barracks 616, that's one. The ranges that I in any way frequent are ranges attached to gun shops.
Oh yeah, me and my cousin are supposed to go to a range sometime in March. I can't wait. I'm going to fire a PQ.
Almost had a range day this weekend, but that would have required like going out. So
Yeah,
after
I
some
gotta.
consideration. I said,
Against-
yeah,
Mm.
I do have to.
Yeah,
So
I-
probably not next week. Probably the week after.
I need to do a range day because I don't even remember what the fuck. I gotta test out this gun so I can see when I'm gonna buy a holster for it, or if I'm gonna buy a holster for it.
Well, I'm coming up on license renewal too, so I gotta make sure I get in my
Oh, you're concealed.
ranged. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I get in the time frame for it.
Yeah, I got a few more months, which means well, I've got stuff lined up for next weekend, but the weekend after I'll put in an hour or two at the range, weekend after an hour or two at the range, and I've already got training materials for
Okay, so I can't go this Sunday to my local range, or to my local range, to the gun club I go to, because it's their second Sunday breakfast thing. And I don't know when they'll be done with that necessarily. And I can't go, I could go next week, but I couldn't go the week after because that's when they're plausibly doing a CPL class.
Come to think of it. Say my plans are Saturday. I might be able to do. Yeah, Barracks has got the range open on Sunday.
I can't do Saturdays and on that whole thing because they do a trap and skeet thing from like noon to 5 p.m. And it's
a trap and skeet thing.
Yeah, it's a thing that's it's done every week because it's kind of what the range is known for and everything. I'm gonna have to see what other ranges are potentially near me and everything. This is why I want to win the lotto so I can just have my own range.
Yeah.
And start practicing
sure.
free gun. Oh, like people have no idea. Going back to the whole if I won the lotto, you know. If I had $1 million, I'd need more than $1 million.
For sure. Oh, I would have an indoor range.
I would have a small indoor range that's probably about 10, 15 yards just to test a few things. But I would literally.
The indoor would be 25 to 50. The outdoor would be a good 300.
Because I know my dad's actually a pretty damn good shot and everything. We wouldn't have many of them, or it's like it'd probably only be enough for 1 to 2 targets. But I would try to have one if I had the property for it to go out to 1,000 yards.
Oh yeah.
Like
absolutely nothing wrong with
we would
that.
definitely have a 500 yard or would be the main thing for that, but like I'm only halfway okay at 100. But no, I would only be using the indoor range to test stuff, but I quite literally would go through and set up a thing to do 3-gun. Or to not just do 3-gun, but to do more like the USPSA to where I can like run through and shoot at stuff. I can play John Wick. as some people would know it.
Yeah. Let's see. Just trying to look at some of the.
I do know one of the big things I would have is I don't know if it'd be all of my property, but at least near my house, that fucker would be fenced with a gate. And then I would look at whatever the bare minimum I have to do for the no trespassing signs, and I'd probably split that in half and have double.
Yeah.
Well, because for those of you who might not be aware, there is a thing that the police use called implied consent. Implied consent is that the police officers, as long as there's no gate and everything to block off the driveway or the way to your front door, they can go to your front door and knock on your front door until you've told them to leave.
Are you serious?
Yes, because it's
There-
they have. Well, that's the thing is they have the implied consent to come up and knock on the door.
There are
Now, if
standards
they
of
go-
reasonableness
Yes.
applied because it's basically they can come and knock on your door just like anyone else can come and knock on your door. Postal carrier,
Yeah.
kids selling Girl Scout cookies, Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. By having access, having unblocked access from the property line to your front door, particularly if there's like driveways or sidewalks, it is giving an implied invitation that far. Now, there is a limit in theory of reasonableness for how long that they can stay on your front door, because the invitation, the consent, extends only that far. And just like if a salesperson was coming to your door, knocking on your door, no reasonable salesperson would stay longer than X amount of minutes knocking
Yeah.
there before they went away.
And then typically the other thing as well, at least from Michigan, last I knew, from what me and my dad were talking about, like they can go around your house, but they can't go up and look on the windows. Like technically all the TV shows that are doing that is illegal. Like other than the front door, they are supposed to remain usually about 10 feet away from the building, or from egressing the building.
See, and I'd have secondary fencing going out from the.
Well, that's why it's like, if I could do it my way, the entire property would be fenced and that whole thing.
Oh yeah, the entire property would have a double barrier,
Yeah. And it would have the
both barriers posted,
yeah.
and then the house, there would actually be another fencing. You'd have the front of the house and visible, and the rest of the house would be behind a third fence.
See, I'm
well.
not going that far, because per the law and that whole thing, the only implied consent they would have if my house is fenced and has a gate is to come up to the gate. And it
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
matter
it's
how.
just-
And the funny part is it doesn't matter how shitty the gate is.
The
Like
thing is,
it can have a
you-
string latch. They still can't just open it.
yeah, the thing is, they're going to violate that anyway. I'm going to make it as blatantly obvious that the violation is exceptionally egregious when
oh,
they violate.
Quite literally, right next to the gate is going to have a no trespassing sign right there as well. As long as like I said, doing half whatever the minimum is, going along the fence, because the gate I would have for them to open it, they're going to have to break it.
Oh wow.
And the no trespassing sign next to the gate would have an additional sign below, doubly so law enforcement, or
Yeah.
something to that effect.
Well, I'd go through and find out I'd set up a time frame with a lawyer so I could go through and talk with them. But it quite literally would have something of the whole thing of, like, police are supposed to know better, and if they were to try it anyways, basically they get tried, and if they try to say it's within their job, it's going to be like, Exhibit A, no trespassing. You didn't have a warrant. You didn't have any reasonable justification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I just you know that some officer out there is going to violate it. You make that as
Well, I'd also go through the whole process, because like it'd be that whole thing if I won the Mega Millions. I would go talk with the actual PD. Like I'd set up a meeting with the captain, and then I would let him know because it would go through that whole process. Hey, I stream. I shouldn't have a doxing thing and whatnot. And I'd been like, oh, by the way, my property is fenced off. So if you have any issues, you need to contact me directly because your men have no permission to go on my property without it.
If the call is not coming from my phone specifically,
Give me a call and we'll get it sorted out.
Well,
William?
Okay, for a second there, when everyone got quiet, I'm like,
you died.
I
No,
thought I lost
it's-
internet again for a second.
I mean
Apparently,
your internet, not you specifically.
no, I thought my internet died again for a minute. I was like, oh, okay, I guess Will's just buffering as well. His own brain is.
yeah, it always does. Our customer service. What else do you expect?
Ah,
I'm so glad I'm not the only one that gets that.
I used to work customer service and I fucking hate it.
No,
Yeah,
I
like that,
mean,
my dentist is like, "Do you know you grind your teeth?" Like, well, duh, I work customer service.
That's why for someone who has to call for customer service, I always try to be super polite. Not because it's what I have to do or anything. I have gotten rude to some people for customer service. The last one that was really the big one for that was actually the XM Radio, one of the satellite radio companies, because my old well, I shouldn't say it. Well, it's still older or not as old as my current vehicle, but I had bought a Subaru Outback brand new, so it had a whole thing for satellite radio for a while, and they kept fucking calling me. So finally, on the last one, I'm like, "Look, you guys, like, I've already told." I got pissed. I was like, "Look, I've already been asked taken off your list, and you guys keep fucking calling me. Like, this is the last fucking time you're gonna do it, and I'm not apologizing for being rude because it's the second fucking time you've woken me up in the middle of my goddamn sleep schedule. I work nights. If I want the radio service, I will fucking call you." Never got a call again.
No, yeah, no. Most of the time, if I'm calling in for help and like, "Hey, look, I understand. I'm upset about this. I want to get it fixed. You've got a process you got to follow. Let's do it."
Yeah, if I'm the one
Oh,
calling
you know, and
customer
and
service,
if I'm not happy with the results, it's like, "Hey, I understand. I need to take this to the next level. It's not you. You got limits. You can't cross these lines."
Yeah.
I totally get it. I'm mad. I'm not mad at you. You're doing great.
the only one that was really funny on that is when I had to call my bank when I was in Okinawa because my cards got locked for some odd reason. Oh, because I went to make they got locked because I made a Steam purchase on my Steam account to buy a couple games while I was in Okinawa, and I didn't have on there that I was military stationed overseas on that whole thing. So it's like I had gone through and updated all that and everything, and I called them. I was just like, "Yeah, hopefully we can make this phone call go as fast as possible." And the guy goes, "Huh?" I said, "Well, sir, I'm stationed in Okinawa, Japan currently, and after X amount of time, I have to pay for minutes. So quite literally, I'm calling you and paying a different person to be able to get access to my own money." He's like, "Well, let's rock and roll, buddy." I'm like, "God, I love this bank." Go through. I have never had an issue with them for calling for customer service.
Yeah. No, the one that I
Technically
had.
credit union. Yeah, like
Say-
they were like, "Okay, I have to." He's like, "Okay, I know that you're going to tell me no. I have to ask. Did you buy these in duress or did someone else buy them?" I'm like, "No." Like someone did put a gun to my head and he's like, "You're going to buy Far Cry, the game on Steam."
Sounds like something Terry would do.
It does sound like
Oh, like it was so fun on that one. He got such. I'm pretty sure they played back the customer call for their boss. It was just like this dude. Yeah, he had his reason to be like a little more antsy, but God, he was a riot.
Yeah, no, the one time I completely lost my patience with so-called customer service was one of the first times I had my own place. New phone number. Well, it wasn't new, it was recycled. And apparently, the person who had it before me defaulted on their mortgage.
Ooh.
Mm.
Oh boy.
And the bank was getting very aggressive in calling and leaving messages. And I finally got a prolonged conversation with somebody, and they're like, well, we can take your number off. We can take your number out, but we can't guarantee it's not going to be put back in. I'm like, okay, I know this isn't the case. I know there are do not call lists. I know you can mark my number so that you will never call it. In fact, you better mark my number that you will never call it, because if you folks ring my number ever again, I will sue you individually and as a company.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
And when
harassment.
you're done, I will own the bank.
Wow.
I hope you know how to run a bank.
I don't have to. I'll sell it. He's like, I'll sell it. Everybody, I knew somebody who.
I was kidding, but
Well, I know somebody who foreclosed on a bank.
Wow.
They had a legal claim against the bank, and the bank was not doing anything about it.
Of that, the
And
only
it
thing.
got the basically the bank relented when he locked the doors and was ready to auction off everything in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that I would say that hopefully were to happen is that other people who were account holders are still reimbursed for their money. The employees and the shit like that, I don't fucking care about them. That's been
Well-
my only
well, it-
issue with the bank accounts and whatnot, because that's not those account holders' faults, and they
Well,
shouldn't be punished for that.
Say in that particular case, it was the local bank branch, and the accounts were held nationally.
Okay, good,
They're open through the local branch, but they're held nationally.
good.
So
Yeah,
it was
'cause, like, that-
basically
That was some of the ones that I remember for like the failings of some of the banks
the
and
only
whatnot, where they were
thing-
getting like a buyout or whatnot. Not buyout.
the only thing that would have been in peril was the stuff in the safe deposit boxes, and technically those are not the bank's property anyway, so those would not have been, they would have
Yes.
been able to prove like, hey, this is ours to turn it over,
Mhm.
but those are not the bank's property. So if you successfully foreclose on a bank, you can't just claim the contents of them.
Yeah, on something like that, they would have to get. It'd be the thing to where you'd have to be given the thing for who to contact for those. Been like, contact them, been like, hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but we need you to come and empty your safety deposit box and start one somewhere else. The bank had to foreclose.
Yeah, the bank had to close.
You owe nothing. Just come get your stuff.
Come get your shit and yeah. Or we haven't moved.
Yeah, well, when the bank realized that it meant that if they didn't settle with him, they were going to lose everything in the bank branch, including all the computers, all the security stuff, all the cash in the drawers, and the vault, they settled real fast.
Oh, I can believe that.
All it took was the threat of foreclosure. Yeah, wow. Fucking wow.
So yeah, that is probably and I presented it a little more politely than I said it to them. Still wasn't cussing them out. You know me better than that. But very interestingly, they got me to a supervisor. I repeated it. And you know what? 20 years later, the bank still hasn't called me.
I hope
Well, that's
they
like,
ask
I ended up getting, this was before I joined the military. I ended up trying out ITT for a while. This was way before they went defunct, when they still had the commercials and were considered somewhat respected. I went to them for like a total of 3 days, but had to drop out because of getting laid off from my job for getting into an accident and that whole thing. And it still cost me like shy of $2,000, and I ended up having to like argue with them because who I was supposed to go through defaulted to a different thing for the loan or whatever it was supposed to be for the payment and that shit. And it took me a while of like finally getting to where I'd be able to slowly pay them and everything until we had that whole thing with Obama to where we got like X amount of money and everything. And I'm in
Are you talking
a
about the
lower
stimulus?
part. Yeah, the stimulus. And I'm in like a lower part of Detroit. So I'm on the other side of the state doing a job for the company I was working at. And they fucking called me at work. And the dude actually had the audacity to be like, well, what are you doing with the stimulus? And I'm like, that's none of your fucking business. And he's like, well, I can go ahead and just set this thing to where you have to pay in full. And I was like, and I will get your supervisor online. It's like, we've already made an agreement. You don't get to tell me how I spend my money. And by the way, I'm going to need to end this conversation shortly because I have to go back to work. Oh, you're just saying that. If I was like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, you know where my it's like, you know where my address is, right? And if he's like, yeah, I'm like, I'm in Detroit right now. He goes, what? I was like, yeah, I'm currently working. I'm cleaning I'm cleaning a freaking high school.
Like, why do people gotta be dicks?
Well, like I've seen
They're
freaking.
bureaucrats, and that's how they make their money.
Well, like I said, Travis, this was shit. I was in 12 years, so this has been
Oh, hey, Travis.
this would have been me at like 20 something.
Travis, she asked why I say you make
So we're talking 17 years ago. So almost 20 years ago, like I said, when ITT was still considered a bit more respected and not the completely trash thing they turned into.
Mm-hmm.
That became basically like a Ponzi scheme.
I almost got a job teaching there, and no, didn't get that, and so I didn't get hurt when they went defunct.
I don't know anybody who went to ITT that wasn't screwed.
I don't know anybody that went to ITT.
Yeah, you do. I went there for a whole 3 days.
You're an
first
ITT
boyfriend-
dropout.
Yep.
My first boyfriend went to ITT.
See, I knew some people who went there and didn't suffer too badly for it. I went to the biggest business college in Michigan. And when I say biggest, our student body was actually larger than the University of Michigan, so although it doesn't get as much attention nationally.
Well, did you go to Ferris or something?
Davenport.
Oh, Davenport.
Which at the time, Davenport owned and operated Detroit College of Business, too.
Oh.
On our main campus alone, we had a student body that was close to U of M's, I believe, but we had 4 or 5 satellite campuses, and
Oh yeah, there's even satellite campuses down by where I'm at.
Say in the other one we owned across the state had 5 or 6 campuses. The entire student body size was bigger than U of M and MSU combined.
Whoa.
And Travis, like, I didn't have to have credits transferred from there, considering the fact I went to an accredited tech center while I was in high school that got me college credits and everything. Like, I wasn't that many credits off from while it's not accepted in a lot of places, the Community College of the Air Force. I never actually got my bachelor's through them because I didn't care enough. Like, I probably should have done college, but if I was going to do college, my belief was I'm doing college for me, not for the military. So I shouldn't be trying to claim that shit for my EPR.
The funny thing is, the only reason I didn't go to West Point is I didn't want to be in the military when I was done.
I mean, who knows how you could have been from there if you gone into the military.
Sure.
I mean, you could have been dead or very lucrative.
Yeah.
Or somewhere in between, obviously.
say, or a corrupt bureaucrat. You know, I mean, it's a lot of
Like I said, very lucrative.
yes.
Huh.
It's funny because I took some of those standardized tests in high school, and West Point started reaching out to me. Local community college did not.
Wow.
Guess who's not getting my business?
Like, I'm a mostly functioning idiot, like I said, in a lot of things, because it's like I follow that closer to jack of all trades, but there's quite a bit of stuff that I only know predominantly surface level shit for.
That's how I am.
Yeah, I would definitely say that is a redeeming factor of her ability to manipulate college credit systems. Because for 90% of colleges, fuck them. They're overrated. They're unnecessary. And it's only because of a bunch of... And I don't care if I piss off Monkey or Jack on this one. Boomers and Gen Xers that fucking pushed it. You gotta go to college.
Exactly what Monkey says.
I couldn't remember if he said that.
Yeah,
the thing is there are
Trade schools are better.
specific.
Oh yes. They're when you predominantly look in the STEM field, or like what Scribe did, or what Poly's doing too, or mainly I'd say Scribe and a couple other people I met throughout the military, to where the things they were studying weren't to be used for anything for the military or something or like that. It was a passion. So like if it wasn't a STEM field for that whole thing, what you should be going to that for is more of a passion.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely have respect for someone who does that. It's like, yeah, I'm spending all this money, but it's something I've truly cared about and wanted to get into. I may teach about it. I don't even give a fuck if it's just a goddamn hobby. Like trade schools are what's being
Originally,
pushed.
that's what college
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
College was for the rich or upper class, so that they could round out their
Knowledge.
so that they could be more pompous.
In some
Maybe more
things.
uppity.
I mean, there's certain areas where you really do need the college degree for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Being a doctor,
STEM.
yeah, you need a degree.
That's why I said STEM.
like your engineering, medical. There's a lot of areas where you don't need it, and everybody who's gotten a gender studies degree would have been better served learning to weld.
But my gender studies degree is very important. How else am I supposed to tell you what gender that cat is? Oh my god. Well, oh my god.
Yeah, but how much? Oh wait, you work for the government, so the gender studies degree pays very well. Sorry, forgot.
Well, and like we saw that whole thing, and like Monkeys brought up, and I've seen so many other people brought up, and that whole thing. Like one of my favorite things is like you'll hear an employer been like, "Forget everything you learned in college about this. I didn't go to college. You're not qualified for this job." Excuse me?
Yeah, you see,
Can
that's
you just tell me to forget what I learned in college?
Like that shit has always bugged me. Or the ones to where they're like, "Hey, this job requires a college degree." In what? It just requires a college degree. Then it doesn't need a college degree if if it's not in a particular field.
See, that's where the beautiful thing with the place I work is most of the positions only require a high school degree. And the things that require, the things where they're looking at college is like, okay, degree preferred or a degree in these areas required. So, hey, this requires a lot of accounting stuff. You have to have a degree in accounting or finance. This requires heavy math stuff, so degree in math or statistics or one of these mathematical pursuits is needed. But when they're pushing for, hey, we'd really like you to have a degree, they're looking for we'd like you to have a degree in one of these areas because it does apply.
Yeah. That's something that makes sense. But in a lot of other situations, for what they try to do, it doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, it's you get to that's like, hey, you have to have a bachelor's degree. Okay, I've got 2. Which one do you want?
You're overqualified.
Yeah, I've had that problem.
That oh Lord, that would piss me off.
And I couldn't get into law enforcement because I'm too smart and have too much respect for the Constitution.
Well, that's like having a discussion with some
Oh,
people when I was in the military, and they're like, well, you know, the Air Force has more degrees than every other branch combined for the most part. And I'm like, in fucking what? But I actually, oh, dude, okay, I got to go on this one. So, for enlisted performance reports, 90% of it is fucking fluff. And that's the reason, you know, because they wanted you to have an education thing. And I actually brought up, it's the reason why they've been, after a while, you tend to learn, especially as you increase rank, hey, man, attempting some kleps or whatnot, or, you know, klepping out of some things isn't really a good education bullet. Like, even going to school, unless you can use that. But one of these ones, they try to say, like, you got, like, this is such a great education bullet for an enlistedment's EPR. And they're like, this person, to kind of paraphrase it, like, this person got a criminal justice degree. And they reorganized the supply closet. And I'm seeing, I shit you not, senior enlisted that have been in for like over 20 years, like, yeah, that's a really good bullet. And finally, I raised my hand, excuse me, sir. He's like, what? I'm like, how does that play to the other? And he goes, what? I said, well, it's cool that the person got a criminal justice degree, but how does that correlate into what they did for that? Those two aren't connected. One doesn't imply the other. It's not showing anything. Like, it's irrelevant from the other. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing angry looks from senior. It's like from other enlisted, from like people who are trying that shit, and starting to see shit click in senior enlisted of like, hey, that don't math.
Exactly.
Because it's like, if it's supposed to benefit the military, it would have to like benefit the military. Like, the criminal justice degree would make sense if it was, oh, you know, they got a criminal justice degree because they're in security forces, so the Air Force's police department, and they use that to better push towards things of police procedures and whatnot. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're like, oh, well, we reorganized the supply closet. Yeah, I can do that on my own. I've seen high school dropouts with a GE, with, you know, with a good enough diploma do that.
Well, most of the time it's to justify their position.
I
Well,
got a
and-
master's in underwater basket weaving.
In the military,
Yeah,
it's
I
not to
refueled the
just
jets.
Oh, no.
in the military, it's not to justify their position. It's just to freaking blame do that, because like, you would have to have 13 of these bullets, and what they want is an impact. It's like a impact result thing, but it's like you would have what the problem is, what you did to fix it, and how that saved the Air Force, basically. So for most of your aircraft maintenance, it was, you know, they had this issue. Well, I went and I fixed that issue by like tightening this bolt so it stopped fucking, or it's like fixing the connector so it stopped being loose, or swapping this part because it was broken in that. So the training they were supposed to get, they could get because it was a fucking training mission.
I
But you
fixed
have
that
to-
issue
you
by
have to-
lecturing the bolt on
You
how
have
I
to
needed its ID.
overinflate that of how, you know, because of that, they were able to get X amount of sortie hours or some shit. And it's like, those have no fucking correlation to each other. And since they changed it to where everyone is no longer a 5, or what was considered a 5, because it was supposed to be rated 1 through 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, 90% of your people are going to be 3s. And it should be that way, because guess what? Even amongst our best of the best, we're still going to have an average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
And
everybody should be average with a few exceptional and a few
Yeah.
people that you're looking to kick out.
And I actually brought up, like, if I could have whispered in the ear of some people that were up in there, like for when they changed the EPR system to that, quite literally, I would have them drop the bullets down to 5, because if you can't tell how you are so great at your job in 5 fucking bullets, you're fucking up. And that would be the maximum. Like, this person should get the, hey, promote, this motherfucker needs to be promoted right now. Because it's like you had promote now, must promote. And honestly, what I would say is, like, quite literally, there should be no justification in there if it has the checkbox of just promote. If you put stuff in there for promote, or it's like for like put check marks in there because they're going for a 4 or something, that's fine. But if the airman or NCO is fine with just getting a promote, you check that box.
All right. So at my job back in the day, we had a rating system called. Now you could get a 5, but you had to justify it. So what I used to do is keep a little handbook, because it was every 6 months that we went through this. Every time I did something that was beyond the scope of my job, I read down in that book. I did this thing. I was acting lead when there was no lead there. I took the numbers. I got this. I got that.
Yeah,
I did that.
that's what we're supposed to do in that whole thing. But this is supposed to be done for the year. And again, it's that whole thing that majority of people don't need this. And you have to understand that it's like the military is about 3% of the population. And when you're average, and all of these have to go to the commander of each, like, it goes of the squadron, then to the group and everything. So it's like once it's been approved basically by the leadership of the squadron, it's going to go through from like the full approval and get routed and everything. Most squadrons have like 300 to 400 staff. And this isn't like back in the day and that whole thing. Like, all the staff sergeant ones have to be done at one time frame. All below staff have to be done at one time frame. So it's like one group is done every time, and you're not going through to streamline this process. Plus, it doesn't help that, you have a commander for X amount of years, and once you typically find out how they like things written, they're leaving and you're getting a new commander, and you have to keep fighting this shit out. And I'm in the whole process. We should have had it like this entirely. We should have had what the officers have for the enlisted performance and reports for the Air Force. Would you like to know how theirs are? Quite literally, theirs are, you did your job. So you did what you were supposed to. You did your job. Or you should be fired. That's paraphrasing, basically. Like, quite literally, theirs was you either did your job or you should be fired for not being able to do your job.
I can respect that.
Angela, you got any weigh in on this at all? I think we've been...
No, I'm just listening.
I was like, I think we've been taking over this conversation. Hey, it's surprising. It's not about movies. Well, that's like I've seen for other companies as well. Like the company I work for, they'll have like, I forgot to turn in my self-assessment thing because all of mine is just like, I try to do my job with minimal fuck-ups. But they always want to go through and have their fluff and everything. And if my job is, or my report for this year is anything like it was for last year, they're not going to have much to say other than, hey, you didn't get all the smart points to where you can get all the extra money. And I'm like, yeah, the smart points shouldn't be a thing. Cleaning up around your area should be a mandatory thing that people do. And we'd be able to do it more if you didn't expect us to just continuously run up until it's like, and pretty much just have things running and turn over to the next person while shit's running.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you would let us shut down for like a 20 minutes per area so that way they could actually go through and legitimately fucking clean.
Just overlap, man. That's what we need. At least at my job, I know I keep harping on just overlap. Like, We should be they should be leaving out at least an hour into my beginning of my shift. But they leave out literally 15 minutes after I come in. Like, there's no time to get any information that need to be given. There's no time to get any like we have reports. We don't care about equipment being broke down because everybody's fucking rushing out the leave.
Yeah.
So there have been times where we walked into situations where, oh, this machine is down. Did anybody fucking say this machine was down? No.
Yeah.
Or there's a bag that needs a tech to come look at it. You know, a test, explosives expert to look at it. And we don't know. It's sitting there like, what's wrong with that bag? Fuck if I know. I just got here. Is it your bag? No, it's not my bag.
Oh, and Travis, yeah, I understand for having like the journeyman master, and it's like for the Air Force for that type of stuff. We had journeyman, craftsman, and I think it was master craftsman, but I can't remember. I might have that shit fucked up as well. And yeah, it'd be nicer if they push people into more in that. And it seems like we're kind of getting there, but it still seems like we have some millennials and younger Gen X that are still pushing, you should go to college. Well, gosh,
Oh,
Maxie, you
what?
need to go to college.
For what?
Yeah.
Answer that question first, and then we can tell you if college is really needed for that.
To be brainwashed.
Indoctrinated. You need to know which bathroom is the correct one for your 50 billionth gender.
Oh. I would love to see more people push people to not go to college unless they have to and just watch college admissions fucking drop and colleges be hemorrhaging money because they're not getting it.
So
Oh, you used to have that because Whirlpool got taken over by Maytag. Now all I can think is General Electric. For that one,
Maytag was the company that gave us dishwashers that would could set your house on fire if you put detergent in them. I think that's one that I was delivering recall panels for. It was a while back.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen that like youth pastor guy that, you know, it's like he'll do the thing to where he's talking to some company or whatnot, and they're like, he's like, hey, General Electric, and he's like, how's it going? But he's like, I like things that spin. He's like, so I make things like washing machines and dryers, jet engines, and a 30 millimeter Gatling gun. He's just like, wait, what? It also takes this one. Some of them are high explosive. It turns people to paste. Oh my God, General Electric, that's terrible. That's what the washers machine's for. I like things that spin.
Bosch caught fire too. Yeah, but I
that
was
sounds
delivering recall panels for Bosch. That goes back a ways. It was before they came out with the dryer that had the steam setting.
I ain't fucking trying for that shit. Like, I can understand the fluff, kind of. But that's about it.
The fluff setting?
Yeah. Otherwise, like, all my other ones are just straight up. I just want them to be fucking stupid.
Wash and
Yes.
wear. Yeah, this one, say the dryer in question, actually, I mean, it had to have had a water hookup because it literally would generate steam.
Damn.
Wow. That doesn't sound like a dryer. That sounds like a press.
Yes.
It says as like, well, yeah, that was like, okay, the same company that gave us a dishwasher that can literally burn your house down if you put in soap gives us a dryer that if it malfunctions can flood your house. Wow.
That's so weird.
Yep. Shit be weird,
It
yo.
sound like that.
That's what it is. Youth Pastor Ryan. I know I've seen some of his stuff on. Actually, I wonder if he is on Twitter. So we're gonna go bam, go over to here. Gotta move my phone again because it's just sitting there. Youth Pastor Ryan. Oh my God, he's got Twitter. Show more. Wait, back. And he has no posts. But he is on Twitter. I know he's on TikTok and like Instagram and on Facebook. That man is just funnier than hell. Remind me on the whole thing for that, the next one, and I will bring up the whole thing, that one for the general election. Like, I thought it was funny because he did a whole thing of like, what he's like, you know, people always wonder, it's like women always wonder what it's like to, it's like how hard it is to get a gift for a guy, saying that it's super impossible. He's like, you just got to buy something that makes people happy. He's like, you know what I just did recently? I went out and bought a big ass, he's like a big ass plumber's wrench for $25. He's like, it's 3 foot. He's like, it's 3 foot long. I'm happy. I walked to another place and I know some people were giving me some weird looks. And what's the first thing the guy at the counter tells me? Hey man, nice wrench. He's like, I know. I bought it at Harbor Freight for $25. Pretty sure that guy's gonna go buy one too and make himself happy.
Okay.
I'll show you the video after. I think we're gonna get out of here. It's been we're just shy of 2 hours, and there wasn't much downtime, and this has been just a fun conversation.
It has. I've
And that whole
It
thing.
has.
enjoyed
Never a dull
working
moment
with
around you.
Maybe sometimes.
And I've
Kinda,
learned a
sorta.
bit more about guns and a little more about military that I didn't know yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb shit when it comes to the military.
I know a lot of the dumb shit that when it comes to the military, just from being a military wife, but I've got a little bit more of the inside knowledge now.
But appreciate everyone for showing up of who has. And that one, it's been fun.
Good night, Travis.
Any
Thanks for coming out.
any parting words? Because I actually have an outro that actually has a part of the outro for it. I don't want to take all that.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, parting words. Sounds good. Parting words. There we go.
Words.
Go watch the movies. Go to the movies. I know this isn't movie week, but still, go to the theater. See something fun.
I think I'm gonna go to the range this week. So
I think I'm going to do some stupid shit tomorrow. Like go do some chores.
I actually went and watched 2 movies yesterday.
Alrighty, well, I am
will
going
watch-
to mute
Go
us
ahead.
and switch to the outro. So later, folks. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Join us again next week, or you can check out the other people in the panel in the description and see us again plausibly on one of their channels, or just check out what work they've done. Have a good week, everyone.